Tinubu Conference Center opens. Services now pay to use.
No reconciliation in sight between Wike and Fubara, says APC Rivers.
Nine Chinese nationals jailed in Lagos for cyber terrorism and internet fraud.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, 2 years of Tinubu's administration, a look at regional development.
One of the biggest challenges Nigeria has faced over the years is the uneven spread of development across the 6 geopolitical zones. And these zones, by the way, didn't just appear overnight. They came about through years of agitation and demands from citizens who felt left out of the country's growth story.
Precisely. And to tackle that growing sense of exclusion, the federal government decided it was time for a more coordinated response. And that's how the Ministry of Regional Development came into the picture. Its mission is to drive national unity, accelerate economic growth, and maintain sustainable peace, especially by making sure no part of the country is left behind.
And that's true, Victor. The idea was simple but powerful. Each region had its unique needs, and rather than one-size-fits-all plan, the ministry promised to create a more balanced leadership structure. Their focus, building a national development roadmap that integrates efforts from all 6 geopolitical zones and all development partners.
So what's exciting is that they're not working in silos. There's real collaboration, especially within development bodies like the Niger Delta Development Commission. Together with the ministry, they've launched key infrastructure projects, building embankments to cure flooding, reopening water channels to boost connectivity and revive local economies. Now, this is hands-on, impactful work, right where it matters.
Quite impactful, Victor. That collaboration is part of a bigger vision. The ministry wants all regional development commissions to work towards one national goal: equitable, sustainable growth that includes health, education, transportation, and digital infrastructure. It's all under the banner of the Renewed Hope Agenda. And that hope is targeted at everyone, not just the urban centers.
Now, the minister, Abubakar Momo, admits the ministry has had some hiccups, mainly from transitioning from the old Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs. But despite funding challenges and a broader mandate, they've still hit some impressive milestones. We are talking completed road and water projects, rural electrification, and even inland waterways and housing initiatives.
And when they say they are delivering the numbers, back it up. Let's back it up. In 2023, they completed mini water schemes supplying over 150 cubic meters of clean water daily. They also brought electricity to rural areas by installing transformers and lighting up communities with more than 250 solar street lights. That's tangible impact, improving health, sanitation, and security.
Yet, there's work ahead. People want the ministry to stay on course, especially when it comes to transparency, accountability, and finishing what they start. The government's now tracking all projects, including those by newer commissions like the Northeast Development Commission, to make sure no project is abandoned and everything aligns with President Bola Tinubu's Renewed Hope Agenda. Because let's face it, hope only matters if it's backed by real results, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right, Victor. Hope matters when it's back with tangible, feasible result. So we've got some special guests joining us shortly to dive into the country's regional ministry 2 years into Bola Tinubu's administration. Welcome to Good Morning Nigeria. I am Ademola Adeoye.
And I am Victor Azu. Great to have you with us on the network service of the NTA. We'll bring you the newspaper review soon enough. I think I've heard Chukwudi Okoliobaja's voice somewhere. But let's first kick off with the latest news. And Stella Inabiti is standing by to take it away. Good morning, Stella.
Good morning, Victor and Ademola. Here is the morning news. The newly renovated and now named Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Conference Center has been inaugurated, with a call on potential users of the edifice to be ready to pay for proper sustainability. The president stated this during the official inauguration of the project. The FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, says the rehabilitation work was completed within 18 months, giving the entire conference center a facelift as obtainable in other developed climes.
Renewing our hope and believing in ourselves.
Whether you're a ministry, whether you're an agency, you want to use this, you have to pay something. You have to pay. That's the only way it can be sustained.
The All Progressives Congress, APC, Rivers State Chapter says there is no existing platform within and outside Rivers promoting the reconciliation of the suspended governor, Simina Lai Fubara, and Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. State Chairman of the party, Tony Okocha, says the widespread statement that President Bola Tinubu might reverse the emergency rule was baseless and untrue, affirming that the rule was already gazetted by the two houses of the National Assembly.
I am not aware of any reconciliation or reconciliatory moves by Fubara and his team on the 29th of May, when a steel till went to somewhere. He was assuring them that he will soon return.
In Geneva, Switzerland, at the 113th International Labour Conference, the Minister of Labour and Employment, Ahmadu Maigari Dingyadi, conveyed federal government's strong commitment to prioritizing social justice and constructing an equitable society.
Of the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, which are designed to reposition Nigeria as a prime global investment destination. Poverty eradication, economic growth, access to capital, improving the security of life and property, rule of law, and fight against corruption.
The Federal High Court, sitting in Ikoyi, Lagos, has convicted and sentenced 9 Chinese to 1 year imprisonment each for cyber terrorism and internet fraud. The convicts are among the syndicate of 792 alleged cryptocurrency investment and romance fraud suspects arrested in December 2024 in Lagos during a sting operation conducted by EFCC operatives. They were subsequently arraigned on 1-count separate charge of cyber terrorism and internet fraud in February 2025 by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. They initially pleaded not guilty to the charges. However, during the sitting on Thursday, June 5, 2025, they changed their plea from not guilty to guilty. In view of their pleas, Justice Osiago convicted and sentenced each of the defendants to 1 year imprisonment starting from the date of arrest with a fine of 1 million naira each. The judge further ordered that upon completion of their prison sentence, the Comptroller General of Immigration should ensure that they are repatriated to their country of origin within 7 days. The mobile phones, computers, laptops, and routers seized from them at the time of arrest were forfeited to the federal government. Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, has been conferred with another chieftaincy title from Igbo line, this time as the Ugosimba I of Enugu. The recognition, which acknowledges her as a jewel of women empowerment, was conferred on her by the chairman, Enugu State Traditional Rulers Council, His Royal Highness Igwe Samuel Ahmadu. The conferment ceremony precedes the launch of the Free to Shine triple elimination campaign for the Southeast Zone in the state.
Campaign seeks to significantly reduce new HIV infections among women of reproductive age, prevent mother-to-child transmission, which is the vertical transmission, and ensure that every child born with HIV receives the necessary treatment and support to thrive.
And that's the news for now. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Victor and Ademola after this break.
From the ballot box to infrastructure, stronger institutions and a brighter tomorrow. Democracy, it's not just about voting, it's about reforms that last, justice that works, and policies that empower. As Nigeria celebrates 26 years of democracy, it's time to consolidate the gains and embrace the necessity of enduring reforms. From transparency in governance, social interventions, increased state allocations, local government autonomy to student loans, healthcare incentives and inclusive governance, every reform matters. Let's build a Nigeria where democracy works for everyone. A Nigeria where progress is not a promise but a reality. A Nigeria consolidating on the gains of democracy, necessity of enduring reforms. This message is brought to you by the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Nigeria's 26th Democracy Day celebration.
Have you heard the news? The federal government of Nigeria, through its direct benefit transfer program, has started the disbursement of 75,000 naira per household in 3 installments of 25,000, 25,000, 25,000 naira. Each recipient must have a validated national identification number, NIN, to receive the payment on behalf of their household members. To benefit, your household must be in the National Social Register of Poor and Vulnerable Households in Nigeria. The federal government's direct benefit transfer program is helping to reduce the effect of suffering while promoting financial and economic inclusion for the poor and vulnerable population in Nigeria.
Afambogeneka ebim na Garadimawa village Abuja nazo afeba. So esom nandi register na NSR government register with my NIN. So government we use ATM card. Nji we wete 25,000 naira 3 times. And ega haya mketa barumulu na dem eji megoro makamihe. Jikwedu mehendozo. Thank you.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, in collaboration with the National Social Investment Programs Agency, National Social Safety Net's Coordinating Office, and the National Cash Transfer Office.
Introducing the new Jig Sachet. Whitening your whites has never been more affordable. Now you can keep whites shining brighter and disinfect by killing 99.9% of germs on your floors and other surfaces. Just jig it with Jig Sachet.
The future belongs to the dreamers, to the doers, to those who are not afraid of the side hustle. It's for those who are ready to turn their passion into something big. And to help keep you revitalized and inspired, Top Tea is with you every step of the way. You are made for more. Find your inspiration. Top Tea, big round bags of flavor.
A new edition of TV Guide is out, featuring an impeccable personality with purposeful leadership.
Abba Abubakar Aliu, MD, CEO of Rural Electrification Agency, takes us through the gamuts of activities and mandates of Rural Electrification Agency, as well as its achievements and dreams.
I really want to see that I leave a lasting legacy that can be spoken of in a very long period of time.
Welcome to a world of fun and excitement as we also present an assemblage of professionals in the media space. Some compelling NTA programs, current trends in the fashion world, ICT, sports, entertainment, and lots more.
Meet Professor Charles Anosike, the Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, as he shares his vision in repositioning NIMET as a key player in Nigeria's climate strategy.
Get a copy at the vendor near you or any NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
Our major currency unit is the Naira, while the minor unit is the Kobo. They are both in notes and coins. The Naira is more than just a medium of exchange. It bears the images of our heroes. So, stop abusing the Naira. It is a criminal offense to spray the Naira at events. Stop stepping on the Naira. It's not your enemy. Do not squeeze, ruffle, or write on the Naira. Handling the Naira with dirty or oily hands can deface the Naira. Love the Naira as you love yourself. Be a real Nigerian. Do not abuse the Naira.
At NTA Television College Jos, you will dive into exhilarating hands that will fuel your passion in education and propel your career to new heights. We don't just teach, we craft the next generation of media leaders. Explore our diverse offering, understanding the personnel matters and issues in the public service, basic development communication, financial reporting under IPSAS, and interpretation of public sector accounting standard IPSAS, audit, internal check and control management, video camera maintenance, new technologies, optics, fiber, IP technologies, automation, storage management, and wireless technology. Challenges and opportunities in the secretarial profession in the digital age. Digital marketing, basic drama, online reporting, understanding the provisions of the revised public service, audio engineering operations and maintenance, camera operations, and intermediate drama. Mark your calendar. The second quarter of 2025 is your launch pad. This is your moment to seize the future. Announcer Management.
All right, it's time for the papers, and next, Chukwudi Baja will be in here.
Yeah, our newspaper reviewer is here, Chukwudi Okoli Ubaja. Chooks, good morning to you. This
good morning, my dear folks. I'm back here.
That you'll be in here by the time we return.
I'm in here like a bad penny. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Good to see you. Good morning.
Same here. Good morning.
All right,
Victor, you start.
Okay, let's begin with the Business NG. And the lead story here reads, $5 billion Aramco Nigeria oil deal. Banks jittery over falling oil collateral. For details of that story, go to page 2 of the Business NG. And in that tiny strip between that major headline and the nameplate, Tinubu commissions rebuilt ICC now bears his name, is on page 2. Above the nameplate, SEC orders firms to pay all valid unclaimed dividends. You get details of that on page 2. And also on page 2, Nigerian banks earn 1.7 trillion naira abroad in 2024. And just one more before we leave the Business NG. Telcos set for huge profits from rising data prices. Interesting. And next is the blueprint. The blueprint doesn't quite have a lot. Above the nameplate is pay for Abuja International Conference Center services. Tinubu orders MDAs. You get details of that on page 8. And below the nameplate, fuel subsidy, $84 billion proceeds used for 40 road projects. That's credited to the NOA. And you can get details on page 8. And finally, from the blueprint, we never authorized anyone to do business for us. That's according to the NNPCL. And the story is on page 19. Adebola.
Okay, I have the this Nigeria newspaper, just beside that nameplate. Senate plans legislation mandating Nigerian presidents to address nation on June 12. Senate plans legislation mandating Nigerian presidents to address nation on June 12. That details can be found on page 2. Don't be distracted by busybodies. Tinubu to Wike. The details is on page 7. It's a rehabilitated world-class international conference center renamed after the president. Then we'll see just there, we have a lot of projects that the president will be commissioning today. Well, Chooks.
Aramco and Nigeria in oil deal, and you say the giant stirs internationally. About time too. Dangote is taking oil from the US, that's crude. He's returning same to some countries, and you want to tell me we're not making progress. It's happening piecemeal, gradually. Let us always be hopeful and optimistic and speak well of our country. Don't be distracted by busybodies, Tinubu to Wike. I hear that the ICC is now Tinubu Center, please. Actually, is something to behold. I've not been there. I'll look in to create more talking points on the program. Somebody was complaining about the cost of it the other time. And I think
cost
they
of
made
what? Is it the cost of
rehabilitation?
rehabilitation?
Yes, and all that. But there was a way the minister seemed to have, answered the person stoutly, It's all to our credit that we have a place that has a very international outlook. Our guests are going to know that we are in for something serious. Some people say, now a place we won't chop. Everything in life matters, sends out a message. It depends on how you package it, and it depends on the context you are dipping it into. Okay. That's it. And then about Wike, it was Ruben, he prefers Dr. Bati, really, who was telling...
he's a doctor.
Good. Yeah, I know he's a doctor.
Doesn't matter.
Don't distract me. Now, some people... He told the president about the many things people were saying about Wike, and the president said, don't bother. The man is working. You don't know those people. He has confidence in this man. And this seems to be delivering. You and I may not like the man's politics. That's your own opinion. He is seen to be working. Actually, the road to Kershi had been marked. Maybe the president will come to that point. When I saw it, I said, I hope they don't think they finished the job. Because just before the bypass, the flood, the mud that takes over the place is unspeakable. I pray that they will sink drainages there and finish a wonderful job they are doing on that road. So it is something that we should salute.
Are you living around that area?
Now you want to expose my hinterlandness. I know you. You've never liked me on this program. But thank God day. That's my name actually. Senate is planning legislation mandating Nigerian presidents to address the nation on June 12th. And you would say, oh, we thought we had taken that for granted. I thought it was routine, for that to happen. So do we really need to legislate about it? That's a query, coming from my simple thinking, on the matter.
And then the telcos set for huge profits from rising data prices. And I ask, at whose expense?
Yes, yesterday we talked about data prices, and I said they are not really raising the prices of data. It's the value of the naira that is our problem. They are trying to step up like the international concerns they are. In the process, the naira, which is virtually whatever you want to call it, makes us think we're paying a lot of money to them. That is the truth of it.
But we are.
Oh, well, we are.
Because I don't earn dollars.
I know what you mean, my dear.
So if you add a naira on top of what I used to pay,
yes,
I am paying more.
Victor,
there's no way you're going to explain
I took my wife to Transcorp Hilton 3 days ago.
And now they are making huge profits.
To Transcorp Hilton 3 days ago, and paid 4,000 naira for one bottle of malt. I've told them I'll come for my change, however long it takes. Money will go reach me buy 9 blocks. That was what I spent on a bottle of.
Why did you go to Transcorp?
Sometimes.
So there are international rates, really. That's the point we're making.
But you see, the challenge we have is that despite that, these organizations and companies are increasing their prices, but the quality is not there.
Services are not getting better.
That's the big challenge. You just find out, even this data thing you're talking about, they have increased the price, but the data don't even last.
Of course, because the cost is higher.
You understand? They don't even last any longer.
It won't last.
You understand? What you bought last probably 2 months ago for 2,000 naira, you are buying for 4,000 now. And 2 months ago, it could last you for probably a month. But now, maybe a week.
Debola, let me get a little scientific about that. I thought the same too.
Yeah.
So I looked at material that had about 250 MBs, and I started downloading. After I downloaded, I found out that only 250 MBs actually got out from my data. So it's not as if you're paying more, but the content they're giving you for one is getting less. It's not really that. Because I tried to find out. I felt exactly the way you feel about it. But whichever way it goes, it's an ill wind that blows no Nigerian any good because they're not earning in quantums.
Yet we have to see our cup as half full, right?
The Chinese that got jailed, I like it. Let us show people who come in here, whether they're Lebanese, whether they're American, whether they're Canadian, that you can't come to Nigeria and do whatever you like. Indian, just any nationality. So I really like it. And what some of these Chinese do here, they can't try those things back home.
Yeah.
The penalty is worse. I think it's something.
Neither would you try it.
In China.
You wouldn't dare it.
You don't. Or you go to Indonesia to do certain things. You might be thinking life or death. There is
Chukwudi, you've earned yourself a cup of coffee, a hot.
I'll tell them as I walk out.
Sizzling hot cup of coffee.
Thank you so much.
So go get it. We thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again tomorrow.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Good Morning Nigeria continues after this break. Please do stay with us.
From the ballot box to infrastructure, stronger institutions and a brighter tomorrow. Democracy, it's not just about voting, it's about reforms that last, justice that works, and policies that empower. As Nigeria celebrates 26 years of democracy, it's time to consolidate the gains and embrace the necessity of enduring reforms. From transparency in governance, social interventions, increased state allocations, local government autonomy to student loans, healthcare incentives and inclusive governance, every reform matters. Let's build a Nigeria where democracy works for everyone. A Nigeria where progress is not a promise but a reality. A Nigeria consolidating on the gains of democracy, necessity of enduring reforms. This message is brought to you by the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Nigeria's 26th Democracy Day celebration.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise, the land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree, we swear in color, with undying demand. We make solutions, we ignite passion, yeah. Diversity is unique, we are more than the solution.
We are Nigeria, strength in unity, we know they carry love. We are Nigeria, together live the dream of a land
Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
Hey Nigeria, ready to breathe cleaner air and save money? Let's talk about gas. Drive with CNG, the smart, cost-effective choice. Fill up for less and travel further. Save money, save the planet. Switch to LPG for cooking. It's cleaner, healthier, and better for environment. Say goodbye to smoke and eye problems. Do you know Nigeria is a gas nation ranked 9th globally with over 209 trillion cubic feet of gas reserve? Gas isn't just for cooking and driving. It powers industries too. Cleaner, cheaper, and more efficient. And the best part, conversion centers are popping up everywhere. It's never been easier to switch to gas. Join the cleaner energy revolution. Choose LPG for cooking and CNG for your vehicles. Clean energy for brighter future. This message is brought to you by the Office of the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Gas, supported by the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA.
Survey says if my phone rings at 2 a.m., it's probably my mom. An emergency. Landlord.
Achalugo. I will give you 1.5 million. After you smile finish, I will add extra 1.5 million just for you to move around. I will not add extra 2 million naira. Just for you to call me your dogu.
Family Feud Nigeria Season 3 is officially live.
The Nigeria Coat of Arms is the official seal that represents the authority of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, hung on the wall behind the seat of the principal officer of the government, supported by the portrait of the serving president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It has 7 features. The black shield stands for Good Earth of Nigeria. The silver wavy band stands for the confluence of rivers Niger and Benue. The 2 white horses stands for dignity. The yellow flora is a common wildflower throughout Nigeria. The red eagle stands for strength. The wreath is in our national colors of green, white, green. The motto, unity and faith, peace and progress, is written on a beautiful yellow ribbon, and it's a maxim for all Nigerians. Be a real Nigerian.
Pleased to announce encouraging news from the National Bureau of Statistics, which released the Consumer Price Index, the CPI, for April 2025 only yesterday. According to the report, the headline inflation rate for April stood at 23.71%, This represents a decrease of 0.52% from the 24.23% recorded in March 2025. Similarly, month-on-month inflation dropped by a notable 2.04% from 3.90% in March to 1.86% in April. This, of course, did not just happen by chance. The president is focused and is determined, and his determination and his interventions are clearly paying off. The benefits of reform, though gradual, are real and measurable.
Thanks for staying with us. You're still watching Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. Just before we bring in our guest, let's take this background report by Ekene Ndule.
Nigeria, Africa's most populous country,
is richly endowed with human and natural resources. However, uneven distribution of development across its 6 geopolitical zones has long been a source of concern and tension. Addressing this imbalance, regional advocates say is essential for national unity, economic growth, and sustainable peace. It is for this reason that President Tinubu's administration created the Ministry of Regional Development and approved the establishment of additional 6 regional development commissions to fast-track socio-economic transformation of Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones. The regional development commissions will be responsible for coordinating and implementing development projects tailored to the unique needs and challenges of each region. In the Niger Delta, the administration, through the Niger Delta Development Commission, has succeeded in completion of many abandoned projects. The once stalled Ibeno Bridge now spans the Akwa Ibom River, linking communities in Akwa Ibom State. In Bayelsa, the Obuya-Nembe Road, once a dream on paper, is now a lifeline of asphalt, making travel safer and more efficient. In Borno State, the Northeast Development Commission has completed many mega projects, including schools, hospitals, and water infrastructure. Although some of the commissions are yet to be inaugurated, while some are yet to become fully operational, the President Tinubu administration is not holding back on distribution of projects across the regions. Already, the 750-kilometer coastal highway legacy project has begun from Victoria Island, Lagos, to terminate in Calabar. From the southeast, the Abakaliki to Abuja highway has been designed to make travels shorter and smoother. The Sokoto-Badagry Road project will traverse the northwest down to southwest zones. In the north-central region, another road has been planned to take off from Akwanga in Nasarawa State to Jos Plateau State. On this episode of Good Morning Nigeria, guests will be giving a midterm assessment of President Tinubu in regional development.
Right, many thanks, Ekene Ndulue, for that background report. Now, seated here in the studio, let me make welcome the Honorable Minister of State for Regional Development, Uba Maigari Ahmadu. A pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria.
Pleasure is mine. Thanks for having me once again.
Yeah, you're welcome, sir. Also joining us on this program this morning is Dr. Abdurrahman Abu Hamisu. He's the political scientist and public affairs analyst. Dr. Hamisu, once again, it's good to see you.
The pleasure is all mine.
All right.
Good morning, Nigerians.
Okay. All right. Honorable Minister, I mean, from that report, we have just seen that a lot of projects have been, going on right now in different parts of the country, which aligns with the mandate of the present administration. Now, can you just probably explain to us how the Ministry of Regional Development is addressing the issues of inequitable distribution of resources? How are you addressing it?
Well, thanks. That's a good way to start. The commissions were set up at different times. I'll give you a few examples, but the most prominent of them is the NEDC, Northeast Development Commission, and the NDDC, with specific sources of income. There are first-line charges. There are those coming in through VAT, and of course, they are under the laws establishing them. They are allowed to take grants for their activities. What they do with such monies actually depends entirely on the priorities of each of the commissions. You will notice that I started with commissions and not the ministry, because the commissions were there before the creation of the ministry. And the ministry was created essentially when it became illogical to keep the Ministry of Niger Delta Development solely for the other commissions that were created recently by Mr. President. Like I said, the commissions have their priorities. If you want to address disparity, the spread of resources, you will definitely have to look first at the sources of the monies, so to speak. As I speak, I do not think that is an issue. Why? Because each commission has its direct source and none depends on the other or any other commission for revenues or for monies. It is not structured in such a way that the monies are pooled all together and then shared. No. Every commission knows what to expect at the end of every month. So I don't think there are issues around disparity of resources.
So precisely, what is the mandate of the ministry itself?
The ministry was created essentially, like I said, to superintend the commissions. The commissions cannot exist in silos on their own. At least we've tested the situation before, having NDDC and NEDC exist. Even then, even before the creation of the ministry, they existed under several times under the presidency and then under the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. So essentially, the Ministry of Regional Development was created to properly monitor and superintend the activities of the regional development commissions.
And what have you found in the period that the ministry has been in place? Yes, you have admitted that none depends on the other because they have their mandates tied to the regions.
Yes.
So what have you found in terms of the level of development in each of these regions, peculiar challenges, and how they get to navigate these, and how do you provide the necessary guidance to pull them through?
Well, we found so many things. The regions are not on the same level. I'm sure you know the Dawn Commission, the development agenda of Western Nigeria, which had been in existence before the creation of the Southwest Development Commission. The regions on different levels, I would say. For instance, the Northeast Development Commission, which has been in existence for 6 years now, is certainly not on the same level with the North Central Development Commission, which was created just about 2 months ago with its management partly put in place. And the same goes for the NDDC, which has metamorphosed from several names before now. And it's all for good. Because, why do I say so? We have the benefit of tapping from one commission to benefit the other. How do I mean? The NDDC, the Southeast Development Commission, can tap into positives, so to speak, from the NDDC, which has been in existence for some time, in areas that are common with what they want to do, the roadmap that is. And I want to say that I'm gratified to note that the people in charge of these commissions now are well-established Nigerians with diverse experiences. And as far as I'm concerned, if you ask me, I would say that they are doing well. So far, so good. But we have so much more to do because Nigerians are expecting a lot from this government, a lot from this president, and that we have undertaken to do to the benefit of humanity and Nigerians in particular.
Okay, Honorable Minister, you said you have so much more to do, like?
There are so many other things to do. The challenges are enormous. And this president, I want to be corrected, this president is probably the one that has taken the most in terms of addressing the issues. We got in this government that is got in at a time that the Nigerians had become virtually had given up on the possibility of making amends or taking the bend in infrastructure. But we are addressing these issues frontally. If you watched our recent tour of the Northeast, I'm giving examples with the Northeast and the NDDC because those are the ones that have been on ground and we have tangibles to reach to. If you followed what we did recently between Borno and Yobe states, you would have noticed that we commissioned projects around infrastructure, schools education, that is. We commissioned one particular primary school in Yobe State called Ari Kime Primary School. From the records established there, that is probably the biggest primary school, one single infrastructure as a primary school in this country, because it currently houses, verifiable, it currently houses over 19,000 pupils in that school. And it came out of the desire of the community to solve problems, like instead of having them in small schools around, they brought them together under one roof, so to speak. We have a primary school section, we have a junior secondary school section with classrooms, modern teaching facilities, staff quarters, right within the same walls of the institution, and of course medical facilities. I'm sure you follow the visuals, you can find that out. There are so many of such projects scattered between Borno, the states of the Northeast, and I'm sure the states of the Niger Delta. I wouldn't say too much on the Niger Delta because we are structured in such a way that one minister takes care of development commissions in the north while the other takes care of those. But I'm sure, because we sit occasionally to review our activities, I'm sure that they're on the part of development. We are doing so well, if you ask me, and I will leave Nigerians to judge. But from the vantage position I sit, I will tell you that we are making remarkable progress in that direction. Education, infrastructure, water, security. We are something like a ministry without boundaries.
Okay, how do you now ensure that the needs and concerns of the marginalized, communities are taken into account in your work, that is in this National Development Plan?
It's straightforward. First of all, before, we don't just take things lock, stock, and barrel. No, we identify what the communities need by way of undertaking needs assessment. We don't just throw projects, like I often say, on the communities. No, we engage the communities. What are your priorities? Some could be education, some could be security, some could be looking at the agri sector, because they are basically agrarian in setup. We sit down and look at those communities before addressing those issues. There are no issues of conflict. If one community prefers to have a school, we give them a school instead of a police station. For instance, just recently we went to Burma to commission a police station and a police barracks. And you would imagine probably they need other things outside of that. But for them, that is what is more important. That is what is more important. Why? Because Burma happened to be one of the local governments that were taken over years back by the insurgents. So as to restore civil authority back to the community, we had to build, coming out of the community, they requested for a police station to restore civil authority in the area, because they cannot go to farm, they cannot do that, the pupils cannot go to school without the security around. So there are instances like that where you look at what the communities need and then provide the solutions. But over and above that, there are basics that are delivered whether you ask for it or not. Because if we see that the place needs a road, we don't wait for the community to say, okay, we want a road before we go put one. There are development master plans. We have the Northeast Stabilization Plan, and for Borno State, we have Borno State 25-year Development Master Plan. We look at them and marry them together with, of course, what we have by way of budget, monies available for such projects. Then we go ahead and do our work. That is essentially what we do.
Actually, that takes me to the next question, how you collaborate with the subnational, because it is important that you carry them along in this development plan. So how does your ministry, does the Ministry of Regional Development collaborate with state governments to implement these national policies? How do you go about it?
The subnationals are probably the most important partners in our business. Just recently I was in Adamawa State and we had an interface with the governor of Adamawa State in connection with the issue you raised. I've spoken about this at several fora, that we don't throw projects at the states. They are our partners. And essentially, the governors are the ones in charge of the states. And these commissions were created so as to circumvent these issues of federal government not being accepted, so to speak, at the subnational level. Every state governor who knows his onions knows that he needs the commissions to function. Not like they can't do their work if we don't come in, but of course, every governor will want to have something from another post to put on ground, because essentially it is all about development. We are not competitors with the state government. If we are competitors, we are competitors for good, competing to deliver projects on the ground to make the lives of Nigerians better.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Let's give you a deserved breather, just so that we engage Dr. Abdurrahman Abu Hamisu. And I'm going to ask, from a governance and political science perspective, how significant is the creation of the Ministry of Regional Development in bridging the development gap across the country?
Well, thank you so very much for this very particular important question. You see, one of the things that we've done that I found to be totally unacceptable was the balkanization of the regions into states. Because when the regions were there, the competition was there, resources were effectively mobilized, and when you look at the development that was attained during that very particular period of time, and from balkanizing those regions into 12 states, from 12 to 19, 19 to 21, now to 36 plus FCT, 37, most of the things that were even achieved as a symbol of development, we could not even maintain such edifices and other things that we're able to do. Even the roads we could not maintain. I'm sorry to say, for instance, in the north, I would explain it that almighty ABU Zaria had to suffer some consequences because it was not able to pay power bill. You go to Amdala Hotel, it's still the same thing, the roads. And the competition was how to develop the regions. And there was a connection between agriculture and infrastructure development, industrialization, because the base was agriculture. So in the southwest, you talk about cocoa. In the north, you talk about granite pyramid, right? In the southeast, you talk about cottage industries, palm oil production, stuff like that. And what that did was to integrate the whole value chain. What do I mean by that? Health is connected to the well-being of the people, including the farmers, so that they can go to farm, produce, and then we tax, and then we build infrastructure. Education was there. And then the premier universities that were built just to produce the kind of manpower that was needed for development. And then you talk about road networks. Though quite few, but they are connecting business activities to the extent that a farmer could, as far back as 1940, when you read Walter Rodney, he talked about the development of the railway. He said from the hinterland to the sea for the evacuation of what? Resources. This is to tell you the connection between infrastructure and trade. Okay. So he said that those things were not meant to enable Africans to travel to go and visit their loved ones in the villages, but to evacuate what? Product, which means that these channels have been what? Established. So what do we need to do? To build on it, right? So during regional system of government, the weight was there, the balance was there, the resources are highly galvanized, they know where to channel it and put it. But with the balkanization, everybody become a king and there is a tough war. So we're not going to do this because it's not our thing. So it's a federal government thing. So even if it is our resources, only very few governors utilize their state resources to build federal roads because they feel that it is becoming a death trap that is killing their people. But again, on the flip side again, by the time they spend their resources to build federal roads, reimbursement becomes a problem. So with development commissions like this, I'm thinking that those tough, right, will be bridged. And then there will be that interconnectivity at regional level. Now, on paper is easy, but in practice is always most difficult. I know the Honorable Minister may not want to speak to some of these issues, but we're aware of some of these issues because the problem is not even in the policies. The problem is in procurement. Who gets to spend what money and on what? And this has been the problem over time, that some agencies cannot collaborate. They can collaborate on paper, but when it comes to, okay, let us pool the resources together, then I will now say I'm the one that is holding the money, so I decide where to put the money. And even the state governors, as he rightly pointed out, that some of the state governors will want more resources that they can channel into some other things. And the problem that is always occurring between state governors and federal parastatals and agencies or MDAs is the fact that the federal MDAs are implementing federal policies, and the base is the states. And by the time you go to the state, the next thing the state governors will tell you is, we represent the people, we won't sit here and you come and impose on us. We will decide what we go. But forgetting that these MDAs have federal mandate to implement, and you people are to complement one another, where your resources cannot really be able to make impact. The federal government is bringing resources to make impact. So what is needed is a collaboration across the states, that is within the region, then across the regions. Is a two-way thing, then top down or bottom up. So once you have this collaboration, not only on paper but practically, then there will be joint planning, there will be joint action, and that is the essence of the commission. Commission is meant to facilitate joint planning and joint action. But again, there is a problem, and the problem is, in a bid to deliver in Nigeria, we always put the cart before the horse. And what do I mean by that? In every country that desires development, that is serious about development, the first thing you do is to have a baseline. Because the baseline will give you the before and after picture of what you want to do. So where are we? You have to document where we are. So what do you want to do? You document it. So where do you want to be? You document it. And that is why the first thing that was done in Northeast Development Commission, and that is the difference between Northeast Development Commission and the Niger Delta Development Commission. The act establishing Northeast Development Commission explicitly directed the commission first carry out a baseline survey of the Northeast to establish what the fundamentals are, what the challenges are, and how you want to tackle those challenges. Then from that very particular survey, develop a stabilization and development master plan for the region. So what was done was, first of all, the baseline. Then the second thing was the stabilization master plan for the entire region. And what was done was, after the baseline, the development plans of the entire 6 regions were aggregated in addition to other sources, for instance, UN system documents and so on, because it is developmental, security, stabilization, economic development, infrastructure, psychological support in terms of psychosocial. So it is a whole lot of work that was done to get the master plan done. And one of the things the Northeast Development Commission is benefiting from is the fact that the leadership is tilted towards research. So they are always asking, what do we need to do at this point in time? So we can't wait. We need to deploy resources to stabilize the region, to reflect the economy, to build houses. But as we are doing that, what do we need to do to enhance our activities? Now, what that tells us is any amount that is given to NEDC can easily be audited, right? Because there is a before and after. You have a picture that you can compare. And that has kept, and I was talking with somebody, and he said, we challenge the leadership of NEDC that will be giving money, and we'll be giving money to you people, and we've not seen any development. And the leadership confidently said, when are you ready to go to the Northeast? Let us know. And he said, okay, we're ready to go to the Northeast. He said they went to the Northeast. By the time they got to the Northeast, they realized that the Northeast was equally underreporting itself. It is not engaging media in terms of what they've seen. And, conversely, and that is why I'm bringing out this, so that we have a picture that is, I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. I'm here to speak to facts as they are. The last program we had here about development commissions, whether they are necessary or not, and we talked about NEDC and NNDC, that is Niger Delta Development Commission, and it was stated that about $40 billion was received. And when you place it on the table and the development that has been achieved, the leadership crisis, you come to realize that a lot has not been achieved in terms of the kind of development people want to see, in terms of development the people of Niger Delta want to see. So we have two examples now of a new Northeast Development Commission that has been trying to represent federal government in a light that people will be won back and have confidence in government, especially federal government. And a commission that has been embroiled in crisis and of what they need to do, and then that commission is now trying to reposition in line with the agenda of Mr. President. So I think we can learn from both, so that as we go forward, and my advice to the Honorable Minister is, they too will need to develop some KPIs. Not we are waiting for them to come and feed us back. No. What has been happening in Nigeria is you give money to people to go and do a job, and the people try to satisfy.
We're coming to that
Oh,
KPIs,
okay.
because we're going to ask the minister.
Okay.
Dr. Amisu, thank you so much because you have thrown open a lot of issues, and this is your opening perspective. We just want to encourage our viewers that you can also participate in this conversation this morning by sending us your questions, your comments via the number on your screen. Yeah, you can do that through text messages or WhatsApp messages. Thank you. So be expecting your comments. Honorable Minister, I mean, you've listened to Dr. Amisu, and he has raised some issues which I know that you are itching to respond to. For instance, the issue of this procurement, this issue of implementation of all these policies that you have laid out. So how do you respond to those issues?
Talking from the point of view of an insider, as it relates to procurement, there are laws governing procurements in all government MDAs, that is. And the NEDC is not an isolation. It also falls within that basket, having to comply with the law. From what I've seen so far, and the little while we've been overseeing this place, I think they're doing not to be their mouthpiece, but I think from the perspective of what we see every day, I think they are in substantial compliance of the law. Okay. That is one part. He spoke about KPIs, deliverables. We have a whole CDCU, sure you know about that, which follows and tracks our activities. This government is very serious about delivery, and that is why all ministers have key performance indicators, things that are expected of us, and periodically we're being assessed and reviewed. What goes out to the public is the product of that assessment. Back to implementation. He also spoke about discrepancies in implementation policies and what eventually is delivered. I would I'll say that on that, at least not this time, at least not the one we know, deliverables stream from the board, drawing board, to the ground. How do I mean? Luckily he spoke well about research, bringing out policies before they are implemented. There is a whole department that handles that. Even from the ministry, we have a roadmap. Maybe time will not allow us to dwell on that very well. But what we do now is actually based on, like I said before, needs assessment. The needs assessment comes from research, from the ministry, in collaboration with the beneficiary communities, so in this case, the beneficiary states. All our projects cutting across health, education, infrastructure, agri, and probably what will interest you the more is that we have been going beyond that now. We are looking at post that time when the monies will stop coming. Or, for instance, we have issues, no one prays for that, but just in case something happens, for the Northeast Development Commission, we're even looking at the future. What are we doing? We are doing things differently now. We are looking at investment of the monies belonging to the Commission to viable projects that will be income generating. We have a Northeast Pharmaceutical Company in the pipeline, and we've gone very far. We don't want to bore you with the details. If you watch Alhaji Aliko recently, and the interface they had when Bill Gates came around, he specifically pointed out the pharmaceutical industry and spoke extensively about the need for us to conserve resources, set up these plants. We shouldn't be going out now to import drugs in Nigeria with a population of 250 million Nigerians. I think we are not helping ourselves by doing so. So one of the things we are doing in the Northeast Development Commission is deliberately disrupting the structure. We have a pharmaceutical company in the pipeline. We have a Northeast airline in the pipeline, at very advanced stages. All these measures are deliberately conceived, and we are overseeing to make sure that we place these commissions at strategic positions so that they can compete favorably amongst the regions. Going back to one of the issues he stated, there is positive competition between the regions. If we take the farmer grade, for instance, the farmer grade calls to a revolving system that is in place. One of the things we commissioned in the Northeast Development Commission. So I need to manufacture drugs. Now, instead of importing drugs from Egypt, Malaysia, India, and sometimes we don't even know the sources, although there are agencies saddled with that. We manufacture drugs here, we save forex, we create employment, we are guaranteed of our sources of drugs and its condition, because what the farmer grade does is it's a cold store chain. You have, and it's computerized, you can monitor the shelf life of all drugs available, and also check abuses in the system, especially now that we are having to prioritize activities. We also have a poultry and feed mill, integrated feed mill with the poultry all put together in one place. These are things that we are doing so as to position the Commission on the path of growth, such that when the Southeast Development Commission, for instance, looks at its books and it sees that these are things that it can borrow from the Northeast Commission. Nothing is wrong with replicating such in its place. And for 7 commissions now, for 7 commissions, we have a lot to do together. No 2 commissions, especially between the North and the South, are the same. Like the Northeast Development Commission, we certainly have areas to collaborate with the North Central and the Northwest. But you will agree with me that for the South Development and the Northwest Development Commission will definitely have very little to do, just like, unlike the Northwest and and the Northeast. So, left to me, I think it's a win-win situation. And Nigerians will be the ultimate beneficiaries of all the hard work Mr. President is doing, and we are helping in our little areas to make life better for Nigerians.
Let's talk a bit more about tangibles.
Yeah.
That we can point to. Of course, some are taking off, some have been there.
Yeah.
But in the last 2 years,
yes,
what are the tangibles that we can point to? You know, so that we begin to gauge what Nigerians can expect going into the next 2 years.
I wish I brought the handbook of the projects we commissioned about a week or so ago. Sectorally, I'll give you examples. For instance, education. I spoke about the Arikime Primary School in Portisco, which housed over 19,000 pupils with first-class facilities. You can find out, maybe just assign one of your people in Maiduguri or Yobe to go and find out. Okay. For education, we have built lecture theaters, 250 capacity lecture theaters, fully air-conditioned. We have clinics we have built and donated to institutions like the DSS, talking about collaboration between federal government agencies. Where they have gaps, we step in to provide, like the providing services. Nothing wrong with commissions coming in to do so. Still on the education, there is this school in Maiduguri as well, Command Boys Secondary School. The school was specifically set up to absorb children of the insurgency. The last time I came here, I spoke about it and even advocated for intervention from NGOs to do their bit. The facility essentially is the Nigerian Army's facility, but the NEDC is taking the bulk of the trouble to run it, providing infrastructure, schools, and even paying the little tuition expected from the pupils. That is for education. For infrastructure, there are roads that you can find out. Roads in farming communities. I'll give you one or two. Ngom, Koshebe, Zabarmari, they are all roads that have been delivered in Borno State. And these roads are also built across the 6 states of the Northeast, not Borno State, which has been seen as the epicenter of the insurgency, which also gave rise to the creation of the commission in the first place. We have water projects. We've seen 10,000 liter capacity project in the Yobe State University in Damaturu, in the capital of Damaturu. We have housing projects, 250 houses currently being constructed in Damaturu, with another 250 spread across the local governments. These projects are basically all on ground in the states of the Northeast. Okay. And we are hoping that very soon, God willing, when the other commissions take off properly, talking about the Northwest and the North Central, we would swing into action and make sure that for most of these things, interventions we've made, security, health, I've spoken about education, we will replicate same in all the states. It's a very straightforward arrangement such that when you're looking for tangibles, anytime you want to, you can basically just reach out and touch one. And we have lots and lots of them. That was why I said in the beginning that I wish I brought this handbook for the Projects Commission, because some of them I can't easily recall. We would waste a lot of time. But we have them, and I'm sure you have ways of verifying our claims if you think they are.
Well, it's not my place to say whether they are claims.
Yes,
but Dr. Abdurrahman Abu Hamisu, now, he's talked about a lot of projects and has challenged us to go and verify. Yeah. And so I'm asking, in your analysis, what's the most effective way, to ensure that these efforts translate to, lasting regional transformation?
Well, basically, I think we could do 3 things. But I want to say some few things based on the feedback I got from the Honorable Minister. In terms of issues around procurement. I'm not talking about abuse within.
Okay.
I'm talking about the top 4. It usually leads to, I hold the money, I will not spend it on this. This is my 4th, I will not share it with anybody. So, for instance,
being territorial.
Yes, being territorial. So,
the commissions?
No, I'm talking about across the commissions now. Okay. So, for instance, if Borno people are highest supplier of, say, cattle to Lagos, and then Lagos state government was magnanimous to give them an open field without any infrastructure, it doesn't stop Borno State. It doesn't cost Borno State anything, not East Development Commission anything, to the extent that Northeast is supplying Lagos State
and benefiting
cattle,
from it.
and they're benefiting from it. Is the people that is there, and it is the community that has been given that land. Nothing stops, say, the commission, 3 commissions collaborating now to build a cattle market in Lagos State. It becomes an investment. But if you now see it more or less like it's not our problem, but is your people are using that, and that is how we can integrate and assist each other to collaborate to solve a problem. So that is what I'm looking at. But I'm not talking about insider abuse, because Northeast Development Commission fairly well I'm familiar with what they are doing, and substantially, they are doing well and they are delivering. Now, what we need to do in terms of what you've said is the trend is coming up. Maybe we can amplify and replicate it, is by geotagging whatever we are doing. If you geotag, I can sit here and look at the bridge you're talking about. There are a whole lot of bridges that have been constructed, roads that have been constructed, houses that have been
many
constructed.
more undergoing procurement process as we speak.
So if we have geotagging, then by the time you finish speaking and you leave, from my phone, I can, I will get the image on the Google map. It will show the location, you see the picture and everything. So I think it is high time we started thinking about all of this as part of accountability mechanism. The other thing again is we should be able, because when the minister was talking, it shows that he knows what he's talking about. He's immersed in his work, and it's not somebody that is just lying on brief. He won't tell you that I don't have the figures now, but maybe next time. I don't know what I'm making, but each assertion is making. He said, I can get maybe your people to send pictures. That shows that he did not sit in Abuja waiting for briefs from, and that is one thing that is lacking. That is one thing that is lacking. Somebody is in Abuja, you've commissioned somebody to do something in, say, Bama. There was this agency that we did a job for, and what was the job? Go out there, verify some of the interventions that we've delivered. We go to the field. We realize that some were just there on paper, but some of these persons have been paid mobilization. They did not return to site. Some other things that they needed to fix, some were fixed at the point of test running it. Right? It blew. And what happened? They took a snapshot of it, wrote a report, and got paid. To the community, federal government will come and fix it.
Yeah.
Right? To federal government, we've already delivered. We've moved ahead. Some, the quality, let's say you're supposed to use iron, say 15 mm. You are now using 10 mm, and it could not withstand the windstorm. And before you know it, after 6 months, that thing has packed up. To the federal government of Nigeria, we've intervened. The people are enjoying it. But to the people, we are yet to enjoy anything. So, if you are a field person, then you tend to achieve more, because the picture they are coming to give you, if they know that you will go to the field to verify, then they will be a bit circumspect, they will do the right things. So, issues around monitoring and evaluation is very key. And that was why I talked about the issue of baseline, because baseline will tell you this is where we are, but this is where we will be. So in between, you have the facts to check. But what is happening in Nigeria is you tell people, okay, we want to train 300 persons. Now, it's 300 persons on the paper, and somebody generates a list with just phone numbers That is if they are magnanimous to put phone numbers. Else, you just say a list. You don't even know who to call. You don't even know how to verify. But if you want to train people, you say, okay, the first thing is we need the BVN. No, the BVN is on the distance. Okay, NIN. Let us have the NIN number of these persons, right? Or the bank account of these persons. You know that definitely it must produce credible people, not ghost people, that people will just use, write reports. And so monitoring and evaluation is very key. But people see it. I was with a friend, and he's from Maiduguri, and he said the governor of Maiduguri has bastardized the office of the governor. I said, what did you do? He said, how can the governor descend so low to go and monitor how they are distributing rice? So to him, the governor is delving into mundane issues. But he doesn't know that why the people love the governor is because, as far as they are concerned, is ensuring justice and fairness, especially for the weak and those that do not have the power to compete. So what you feel is not important are the little things that will give the kind of result that we want. So first is baseline. Secondly is planning. And then monitoring and evaluation. Lastly, getting the right persons for the job. Because what used to happen in this country is you establish a very fantastic organization. Mr. A is more competent, but for political consideration, you choose Mr. B. And this Mr. B does not even have the temperament. Maybe this Mr. B is broke. Maybe this Mr. B is greedy. And he goes there, and what will he do? Public-private partnership. So 30% will go to public, 70% will come to him. And at the end of the day again, we will now spend money on EFCC to start tracking this person, to prosecute the person. So if you look at it, tail or head or tail, we are losing. So getting the competent people to occupy, and that is why anytime we talk about development commission, I used to say that they are very lucky to have the person that is at the aim of affairs who has brought some 3 key qualities that I could see. He's patient, he's hardworking, and he has the temperament and the experience. So it's running, but again with moderation and caution. For instance, after the development of the Northeast Development Commission Stabilization and Development Master Plan, the next question he was asking is, being that in all indices of development, Northeast is at the bottom of the ladder, do we have the required capacity to even implement what is in that very particular development and stabilization master plan? Now, it needed to go beyond, okay, we have a master plan, so okay, good and fine. But do you have the resources? Do you have the manpower? Do you have the time? And all of this, he was able to provide an answer. So this is a leadership that knows the fact that they needed to bring up their region in order to be at par with other regions. And that is why I quite agree with Honorable Minister when he said the regions are not at the same level of development. Certainly. Even the challenges are not the same. Certainly. And then once you have a roadmap, it's just like somebody who doesn't know any place, and then you have a Google map, and then it's telling you turn right, turn left, turn right until you get to your destination. So it's key that the quality of the people we're employing is very, very important. The roadmap, the key performance indicators, and when you talked about that of the government, I am talking about that of the ministry itself. Yeah. Because without...
Ministry is part of the government.
Yes, because without that of the ministry cannot effectively supervise the commissions, because what the ministry needed to be doing is sit around the table and say, okay, Notice Development Commission, where are we on this? So if it is road infrastructure, lay the maps. Where are we? We said we are going to get to these are the milestones. So where are we? North Central, where are we? And then in terms of the setup, and not even stops the ministry from organizing learning interaction
we do that very often. Sorry, not cutting you short before I forget. We recently had a retreat in Lagos, bringing all the commissions together. We sat, brainstormed, and learned from each other. We had so many takeaways. But back to tangibles. Do you know that before now, in the 6 states of the Northeast, there was just one MRI machine. One. What it means is if someone is sick in Taraba and he requires the services of the MRI machine, he needs to be taken to Yobe State. But the commission intervened, and we've concluded the process of acquiring this to support federal government health institutions in those states.
How many are we acquiring now?
We are acquiring 12. No. Not 2, not 3. That is one for health, for the health sector. When you spoke about tangibles, I said there are many, but I didn't want to waste it. But I thought that this is very important to take care of. One other thing that matters to our people, especially across the commissions in the North, is agric and security. What are we doing in that respect? We've engaged a firm, a UK-based firm, to develop, matters of security don't come to television to say, okay, we are going to do this to solve this. But we've engaged a firm, a very reputable UK-based firm, to provide solution, end-to-end solution, from data to follow through, so as to stem this unfortunate tide of banditry, kidnap, ransom, and all this under one basket. And I'm confident, very confident, that at the end of it, when we take out this problem of security, life will get back to normal. We will go back to the farms. And when you get back to the farms, the commission in place on ground now has a program on agric that targets supporting, not going into farming directly, supporting farmers in these regions by providing input with extension services to help them maximize their yield. And not only stopping there, after production, we have a window within which to off-take these products. Most times, local farmers go to borrow money, either to go back to prepare land for another crop or to attend to basic needs like weddings of their children, school fees and stuff like that. We have a solution on ground whereby the commissions on the a platform takes over these products and provides them the solutions, gives them money, saving them to just take the products to the market and sell for anything, such that when the prices in the market stabilize, they get real value. We are doing this much for the people. Beyond that, infrastructure into those hinterland areas is very key. And we have a whole program targeting that. By the time the Northwest, the North Central, all come on board, you begin to see the symmetry connecting all these areas we are speaking about fall in place. And they are all targeted at making lives better for the common Nigerian, for whom we are in government. I think we need commendation, please, for doing the much we have done. At least for once, we have a clear-cut program. We are following them through, and we are tasking you to track what we are doing so that people will see, okay, we made promises in this direction, we've delivered on this, this is where we are now, and by the time it's, we are 2 years now, and by the time we round up, hopefully, you begin to see where we've moved from point A to point D, hopefully.
Okay, Honorable Minister, thank you so much. You have talked about a lot, but we still want you to talk about the issue of, engaging with the key stakeholders. And he also mentioned some issues like how to resolve conflicts between the state and probably the ministry when such arises. But that will be done after the break. Okay. We just want to encourage our viewers to send your comments and questions and also participate in this conversation. The number is displayed on your screen. Stay with us. We shall be back after this break.
From the ballot box to infrastructure, stronger institutions and a brighter tomorrow. Democracy, it's not just about voting, it's about reforms that last, justice that works, and policies that empower. As Nigeria celebrates 26 years of democracy, It's time to consolidate the gains and embrace the necessity of enduring reforms. From transparency in governance, social interventions, increased state allocations, local government autonomy to student loans, healthcare incentives and inclusive governance, every reform matters. Let's build a Nigeria where democracy works for everyone. A Nigeria where progress is not a promise but a reality. A Nigeria consolidating on the gains of democracy, necessity of enduring reforms. This message is brought to you by the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Nigeria's 26th Democracy Day celebration.
The Nigerian national flag represents our country's history, culture, and identity. It was designed in 1959. The colors are Emerald Green 2.0, which represents agriculture, and Immaculate White represents unity and peace. Know how to handle our flag. Illuminate the environment or don't fly the flag overnight. Do not fly a dirty or tattered flag. Take such flag to the nearest National Orientation Agency office for proper disposal and replacement. The national flag can only be flown at half-mast on the directive of the federal government. The national flag must be flown at the same or higher height when displayed alongside other flags. Don't burn or allow the national flag to fall on the ground. Do not print, decorate, modify, or insert the coat of arms on the flag. Our national heroes are not buried with the flag. They are honored by presenting it to their next of kin during interment. Respect our national flag. Be a real Nigerian.
This message was brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
When we think about the digital economy, you can see it as the marketplace for digital goods and services. And increasingly, it's becoming a force to reckon with and an incredible contributor to economic growth, because we've seen the growth in technology and digital platforms. Technology has it really permeated every aspect of life and business, the way we live, the way we work. And when we talk about the digital economy, we're really talking about leveraging technology and digital platforms in a powerful way to drive growth, to drive solutions to problems, to drive applications, and to provide services.
The digital economy is something that has the potential to help Nigeria leapfrog a lot of its development challenges, right? Because think about what the mobile phone did for Nigeria years ago. That is the potential we have for digital, because it has a way of reducing the barriers to innovation. It has a way of being able to transform service delivery, whether it's government's delivery of services or whether it's services in the health system, where people can use digital to actually be able to see their patients better. But it takes a lot to realize that potential of digital. The first thing is like every other thing, there's an infrastructure you have to build to be able to make sure that digital economy can thrive. Think of something like, capturing that happens in Nigeria, right? Where you capture, people's biometric when they go for a driver's license, when they go for passports, and each of those are separate things. Globalizing a system where you're able to streamline that and actually have a platform that exchange biometric information that makes it easier for people to access passports, easier for people to register to vote. But today it's very tough, right? But those are basic infrastructure that needs to be invested in. A lot of it is through government and private sector collaborations to make it happen.
If we're looking to accelerate growth in the Nigerian space, we really need to look at enabling the digital economy. That includes providing digital infrastructure, connectivity, because that's the highway, like the highway that everything rides on. We need to think about digital capacity building in terms of the suppliers to the economy and also the consumers within the economy. So a robust digital literacy initiative. The good thing about technology is that, one, it helps you to transcend boundaries. Two, it creates a level playing field, really, because if you create a solution, it's a technology-based solution that is applicable in this environment, that same technology can be applicable, exported to other environments. And, technology platforms also help drive collaboration, right? When we're thinking about innovation, when we're thinking about business growth, collaboration is an important part of that. So when we think about the impacts with the rest of the world, we find that actually technology platforms are giving us an opportunity to engage more actively, to collaborate, to create partnerships, to even export our knowledge and services for people to engage with all the great things I'm talking about technology and digital platforms. They need access, internet access, broadband access. So we need to make sure that access is more available and affordable for the average user.
The most important thing is to think about where you want to go as a country and actually what type of policies are going to help get you there. There are examples of countries who've been able to transform using digital, for example. There are very clear things those countries did to be able to make it happen. So a lot of this, the pathway to be able to solve these problems are not mysterious, right? It takes courage of the policymakers to be able to understudy some of these things and bring in the policies that work to be able to help them.
Thanks for staying with us. You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. And the conversation is still on the 2-year administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And we're looking at the Regional Development Ministry. Yeah. Before we went on break, we're going to talk about, some of the issues that may arise. That is the potential conflicts, and how do you address them between the federal and the state government. But before you answer that, we have some comments that have just come in. This one says, "Good morning, Nigeria. I'm very happy to write 2-year Tinubu administration. I'm so pleased about this work, and I believe if it's continue, things will be better in our country. I use my state capital as example. Come and see what our governor is doing in Ilori. If not for the administration of Tinubu, it will be a long before we have the kind of infrastructure." That one is from David Akimbode Jolayemi from Kwara State. And this one says, "What specific steps is the Ministry of Regional Development taking to revive industrial development, especially considering the persistent power supply issues that have forced many industries to shut down or relocate to power accessible regions like Lagos and Port Harcourt?"
Directly to answer that question.
Yeah.
As a matter of policy, the commissions are not going into 100% going into business.
Okay.
I told you about the pharmaceutical company, the airline, and a rail line also, with the integrated feed mill and poultry. All these initiatives are not initiatives that the commissions would take 100%. We provide the enabling environment, we get technical partners, we get financiers, bring them together, then the commissions maintains a percentage of the holding. But essentially, the day-to-day running of the businesses will be in the hand of real business people. Direct answer to...
That's the PPP thing?
Oh yes, PPP. Mostly PPP. Direct answer to the issue of power. As we speak, we have a program to put on ground small mini grids, especially in areas that are constantly being targeted by insurgents. Occasionally they go after power installations. When they run out of what to do, they are attacked just to make life difficult for people. We've seen that happen mostly in Borno, Yobe, and Kwara, Niger. I think Niger State too. So as a solution to these problems, right now, I wish I had all the papers here. Right now, we have we have received proposals from three firms with solutions to take care of that. And even yesterday, while I was at work, I had to attend to one of them. Like I said, it is supposed to provide mini-grid solutions away from these conventional transmission lines where they see every day and vent their anger on. So we don't have any issues taking businesses to Lagos. At least it's our country, and it's the same people. Like Mr. President says occasionally, we are the same family living in different rooms. So there is no problem if we have the need to take businesses to Lagos. It's the same family, nothing wrong with that. But going there purposely to take advantage of electricity, I don't think it's a smart move. Or rather, I would prefer that we provide a solution to where the problem exists, so that beyond what's on ground, like for those that have been out of production for some time because of power, they get back to business, and we get on board new ones. Okay. But beyond that, I didn't tell you we were also looking at Northeast Power Generation and Distribution Company to use dams, two existing dams, one in Kiri, and Kiri is in Adamawa State. Okay. For your information, since like 2008, former Governor Mushala Nyako gave out a job. Actually, it was a consultancy firm to get the details on how to retrofit the dam to generate electricity, because it was originally built as a dam for agricultural purposes. We have the report on ground. We know what it will take to generate 40 megawatts of electricity from Kiri Dam. That Inkwa Dam is in Gombe State. Presently, it's been concessioned to a firm, no details here, for some time, but we are waiting for the time to lapse. We take it over, bring them together, and we are very far in discussions with technical experts to generate electricity and distribute same. What we want to achieve is to bring back those things. Just the question he asked. Okay. Locate industries around us. They cannot function unless there is electricity. So if we provide the solution, like I said, instead of taking these industries to Lagos and go and compete on existing electricity supply in Lagos to probably eat into their present supply, we provide solutions where the industries are here, in the between Gombe and Adamawa. Provide a solution there, revive the industries, cottage industries there, and probably get new ones to come on board to create jobs and open up the areas.
That's been even developing across the country.
Oh yes. These are some of the things that we are doing, and unless we have opportunities like this to say so, sometimes you don't go into the minutest details of all the things we are doing. But if you aggregate them all together, we are doing things from different things from different directions, but we are prioritizing so that we don't lose direction, we don't lose steam. At the end of it, you do so many things and you don't conclude one. These are some of the major ones we are concentrating on to improve the lives of the people.
But I have two messages of my own
here. How do you address the conflicts that we talked about that may arise between the state, the federal, and the commission?
So far, I have not experienced, or we have not experienced, any conflict. While we were on break, we spoke about areas like this. No sensible governor or any leader at whatever level for that matter would deliberately want to have a conflict with a commission that essentially was set up to bring development to its place. I was thinking that, and so far, they have been very, very welcoming. This set of leaders at the subnational level are very wise and outgoing people. And for positive competition, once my brother gave examples with Borno State, it goes with Borno State is probably the most visible in the Northeast, because for very obvious reasons his activities are open, and it varies with one governor's disposition to the other. Some will be laid back and still be doing the job. But without doubt, the governor of Borno State is doing exceedingly well. There is no argument about that. No governor would want to engage development commissions in unnecessary conflict. But when it happens, unfortunately, when it does, I understand there could be instances where, for instance, the leaders at the subnational level who want to locate projects here for a particular. We look at whether needs, I spoke about needs assessment. We look at the propriety of doing such. If it meets the targets and ticks all the boxes, why not? He is in charge. But where it will be taken just for some conveniences that are not in the public interest, I think we will differ without having to bicker. But we would definitely always want to cut the governors so that we are on the same page always, so as to have the enabling environment to deliver on these projects that matter to us the most. So I will say that we don't pray for conflict, but when they do happen, we'll have a way of managing them somehow in-house.
I have a couple of messages of my own here, and the first is credited to Engineer Ibrahim Oladeji. Said, my question goes to Honorable Minister of State for Regional Development. Kindly avail us, what is happening in Southwest Development Commission. What is the objective of the Regional Development Commission, by the way? And that's one. A second reads, a very good morning to you all. I welcome all our guests. I want to support what Doctor has said about monitoring and evaluation of these commissions, because there are some simple projects like buildings that have taken over 3 years without completion. And some of the buildings are very substandard, e.g. in Bauchi, the building along Jos Road and the one in GGC, Bauchi, ETC. Actually, supervision will assist. And finally, from Ogochukwu, watching from Borno, why is it that the Honorable Minister Maigari is talking more about the Northeast and less about other regions?
Okay, let me start from that. The Northeast is where the Northeast Development Commission is situated. And it has been the one that has been on ground for 6 years. I have not spoken about the North Central or the Northwest as it relates to projects, because it has not, both commissions have not taken off fully. Nothing other than that. But I will be glad to come here again to tell you about projects we are doing in the Northwest and the North Central when they take off fully.
And probably other, but Southwest as well as Southeast.
Definitely, we work together, so I have an idea of what's happening around. I think someone asked something about why the Southeast, something about Southeast.
Yeah, you've not spoken about Southeast, you are speaking about
that's the question, actually.
East.
Oh, okay.
Somebody's asking about Southwest. What's happening with the Southwest Development Commission?
What's happening about Southwest? Southwest Development Commission has been, is one of the 7 development commissions created, and it has been enabled. It has a managing director, the chairman, and the members of the governing board. They are in place, and they haven't taken off just like the other ones, because they will need infrastructure. They will need to have an office. They will need to recruit basic staff. They need to take off. I'm sure they are at that preliminary stage now. In answer to someone who asked about substandard supervision, to interest you to know that, just to tell you that we are constantly on the issues. Yes, he is right. Those buildings were built below standard, and the commission admitted itself that those buildings were below standard. So for that reason, it has taken an in-house decision to correct the anomaly. And what is it doing? For those who have fallen short of requirements and are liable, there are existing penalties within the system to correct those. But for those which were out of the hands of the contractors, the commission is taking responsibility, and we're pulling them down completely and even re-awarding them afresh. There are some in Yobe State, not only Bauchi State. Those buildings particularly were generally mishandled, I would say, for different reasons. And I agree that when they are closely supervised, probably will avert such instances. I spoke specifically on that when we went to visit when we went to inspect the housing project in Damaturu, Yobe State. So I agree with the person who sent the message that those houses below standard, we're taking responsibility, we are pulling them down. Those that will be penalized will be penalized, and those the commission will take responsibility, will take responsibility as a very responsible organ of government. What other question?
No, I think we've covered all that.
Okay.
But Dr. Abdurrahman Abu-Hamisu, now, going by the feedback that we are getting, how do you think that stakeholder engagement can be strengthened just so that, you know, the regional developments can become more, you know, all-inclusive and be worth the while of those who come from those axes?
Well, I think we're already doing that by coming to this studio, by inviting the Honorable Minister. Even when I come this morning, I was speaking with one of your staff. I said, with all sense of humility, I think the minister is ready to work. That he could leave his house at this early hour. We know our big men, the way they behave. They would rather send their aide to come and represent them, and then it becomes more or less like Oga at the top. You know, so I think from the feedback, it shows that Nigerians are watching.
Yeah.
And the feedback is quite germane, and I like that. That is citizens' participation. The questions are supposed to be directed at the minister. Nobody shy away from directing it to the minister. And somebody somewhere who is in Borno is saying, you're talking about the northeast. You are not talking about southeast. But he is in Borno, right? He's writing from Maigari, which means he's concerned about his own region, despite he's enjoying something good. Maybe he probably must have seen what they are doing. And such a person will have the capacity to compare what the Northeast Development Commission is doing and what his own regional commission will do by the time they are fully operational. So, in terms of so what I would advise going further is, if the ministry can organize more or less like media engagement, and now it's not about, because the minister has spoken.
Town halls, you mean?
Yeah, the minister has spoken about engagement strategy that has been adopted by the ministry and the two commissions that are on board. Now, that is for those communities. Assuming he has not come to this place, the person from Southwest will not have the opportunity to even ask a question to say what is happening with our own commission. Why are you not speaking about other commissions? And it's right. He said these are the ones that are already operational and they are doing the tangibles that they're supposed to do. Why I've not spoken about all of this, I said they're at various stages of finding their feet on the ground. I think this is a good feedback to Nigerians on the whole, presenting a global picture of what the 7 commissions will be doing and what the 2 that are operational are doing and the strategy that is in place. And we talked about how to strengthen all of this. So what I feel, and I said it, and
Dr. Amisu, you have just 10 seconds.
Okay, I said it. I said it was as if the Northeast Development Commission was underreporting itself, you know, based on what it has achieved. So I think we needed to be more
publicity.
So that other regions can benefit from what they are doing, including the South Development Commission.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Amisu. This one just came in. This comment just came in. He said, "Good morning, Nigeria. Honorable Minister of State has spoken very well. Honorable Minister, please, are you considering regional policing to improve the insecurity that are peculiar to each region in Nigeria?" I don't think that is and from Engineer Ibrahim and Mohammed Abuja. But lastly, because of time, we're winding up in just a minute. Looking ahead, looking forward, what are the priorities for the next 2 years for your ministry?
Largely, it will be to build on what we are doing. We are not concerned about doing just many things disjointedly. we are concentrating on delivering on what we are doing right now. Okay. And before I even say that, I want to use this opportunity to say this. Someone asked a question about regions, moving from regions to where we are now. Mr. President's intention came out of the desire to answer specific questions. Nigerians have been agitating for a very long time. Some have been agitating for moving back to the regions. Like the doctor said that we were doing better. Many people have that opinion, or share that opinion that we were doing better when we were operating as regions. Okay, we are not in argument with that. But within the framework of the law, with the Constitution, we have a Constitution in place, and that is not what the Constitution stipulates. Why don't we use what our present Constitution provides and solve the problems and agitations of those people? So these commissions were created in direct response to the agitations of these people. Okay, take your commissions, take your monies, go prioritize, look at your issues, solve the problems, then we come back to the federating table as one Nigeria and live happily forever. Back to your question. We are concentrating on infrastructure, we are concentrating on education, and specific education. We want to train 1,000 young persons in new skills, scaffolding, spot welding, such that not everyone has to go to the university to study law to become a lawyer. You will need plumbers, you will need electricians. Who fills those gaps? We are targeting this. We are working with Kano State government, for instance, in the Northwest, where we have this population, this number of idle, virile young men who would do this job. We want to take them off the streets, equip them, prepare them for the future. Beyond building roads and bridges, we are interested in building people as well.
I guess it's a very fine place to end this conversation. We are right now overrunning. I would like to thank you very much, Honorable Minister of State for Regional Development, Uba Maigari Ahmadu.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure engaging you on this occasion.
Is mine.
Thank you very much for coming. Let me also thank Dr. Abdurrahman Abu Hamisu, political scientist. We thank you very much for your time and your thoughts on Good Morning Nigeria. So that's the program for today. Good Morning Nigeria returns same time tomorrow. I am Victor Azubai for now.
You have a lovely day.